Hold it! Hold it!
So we're going to the beach,
Hold it!
which is around 10 minutes away from the house. And we got a little rain this week, a little,
A little.
flooded everywhere. Guys, that got way worse. Oh, Jesus Christ. My heart cannot take this. So this is our beach. There are many in the city. Rosa Beach, right after that, he was the most famous one.
The Scheveningen of Brazil.
We tried to live in a beach in the Netherlands right after the pandemic hit. When we were tired of the lockdowns in London, we were locked in the apartment for 7 months.
So how did we end up in paradise?
Yeah, we were joking about Scheveningen. So we were in the UK during the pandemic, and they locked us in our apartment for 7 months. We weren't even allowed to go to the park to play basketball. We had a little park, very little park next to the building. And Boris Johnson locked the basketball court, so we weren't allowed to go to a different park. We weren't allowed to go 2 kilometers away from our apartment, right?
No.
And that was the park. So that was very annoying. So at one point we decided to get out. We crossed the border to the Netherlands, crossed Paris, then to the Netherlands, where we tried to live for 3 months, and it was great.
Funny story about the crossing to the Netherlands. We literally rented a car that was big enough to put most of our stuff in. Some of the things we had to leave behind, uh, those were not that important. And it was the very last day before they actually closed all borders.
Yeah.
So literally our last chance on
To
getting
get
to
the
the
fuck out.
tunnel, get on a train with the car, go through Europe,
Yeah.
and then basically flip off the UK.
Yeah.
Um,
So we lived in Den Haag, The Hague, for 3 months, and it was great. But 3 months in, they announced their first lockdown. That was November of 2020. So I just told Akush, hey, let's just go to Brazil, spend New Year's Eve with my parents. We got the ticket to Brazil, and the way back to the Netherlands was on the 15th of February. And then on the 29th of January, they closed all the borders. So we were kind of stuck here. But I mean,
not complaining. I think we made the best out of it.
yeah.
We lived for a while in a different place. Once my visa was sorted out, and we basically decided, okay, we're just gonna stay here and not go back to Europe. I think we already started planning on actually getting something. I'm just double checking with to move somewhere that was potentially more remote, I guess, or quiet, a little bit farther away from the busy cities, and then we found this place, which is yeah, pretty much paradise.
Yeah. We're gonna make some pesto. We planted basil and it started dying, so I collected all the leaves. So we have more than enough for 2 recipes. But the most difficult part of moving to an isolated city is that you're gonna feel isolated. Before I lived in London, and before that I lived in Balneário, which they call the Brazilian Dubai, and it's super crowded. You never get bored. And the truth is, I never felt more isolated when I moved to those cities. I never felt more embraced as a human here than I felt before, because I just felt super isolated there. You get scared that you're gonna feel isolated in the jungle, but the truth is you're isolated when you are in a big city, because everybody just minds their own business. They don't care about you. They don't care about anything around them. Everybody is in a hustle. So when we lived in London, for example, through the pandemic, right? Nobody called to see if we were fine. Nobody came over. I mean, that's contradictory, but anyway, we had a neighbor next door, and we saw each other through the balcony when there was like something bad going on outside. But during the pandemic, we could have like sat down in the balcony and had a conversation. That never happened because she didn't care, you know? Here, if something happens to me, I can just scream, and there will be five neighbors here asking, like, do you need help? Do you need me to bring you somewhere? And they just come over. When we were building, there were days that we didn't have time to eat, imagine to cook. And my neighbor saw that, and she came with meals to us. And they come all the time with corn, with, guava, many things. What I'm trying to say is that moving is difficult. I lived in 7 cities before this, and there is an adaptation period of time. It's between 6 months and a year. You kind of detox from where you came from, and you move to this new place, and you don't have friends, so that hurts as well. But after 6 months to 1 year, you start getting used to the life. And to me, what matters the most is not the Friday night that we're gonna go to a pub and get wasted and have fun. It's more about the Monday to Friday. What am I doing then? And here I can be healthy. And in London I had very unhealthy habits. So it's a bunch of things that together just make sense, at least for us. So just to give a little backstory to this, we went on a walk with the dogs, and we saw a neighbor arriving, started talking, and he has this piece of land there where he plants stuff. So he just asked if he wanted some cassava because he had a big crop. So we took it. So that's just how life is here, you know? So this is done. This I'm gonna freeze, and this I'm gonna fry. I think. But I'm gonna eat it today. Hey, baby. So the pesto is almost done. I just need the Parmesan. Now I'm gonna fry the cassava. And another thing I wanted to talk about is that when you live in a city, doesn't matter how big it is, people matter a lot in your life. There's a bunch of people that have opinions on how you should be living your life, what you should and shouldn't do. There's a lot of judgment. There's a lot of drama. And it just, even the hearsay, even the drama in between other two people in the group, it affects you. And since we moved here and we don't have a group of friends yet, it's just so peaceful. It's just so peaceful. There's no judgment. You're not comparing yourself. I mean, there's social media still, but if you feel depressed for some reason, you can just turn it off. So it's good. For mental health, it's definitely good. My anxiety went away. I have some deep anger issues, and I'm very chilled, very relaxed. I recommend it. I think it's an adaptation time, but it's worth it. So this is the cassava ready, the pesto, and this